With the release of the newest trial decks and the premium collection is still waiting for itself, I will showcase you guys off my premium deck profile on the Chronojet Dragon. So, for the guys that don't know it, there has been a new trial deck released for the Tri 3 set that contains Arsha, Chronojet and Otmel, and with that we got the boy himself, Chronojet. So with this deck I can already make a pretty good premium deck. You can include some cards from the Tri 3 set, but not a lot of cards are really used for now until we got the premium collection set. So after the premium collection I will make another deck profile for you guys with the entire deck updated once again. But for now I will just showcase you guys off how I built my premium list and how you guys can work around it. Because I personally say this is my optimal build for myself, but it can be different for you guys. I run a lot of tech options. I prefer running some little wanky stuff in some opinions, but for me it works solid. And yeah, that's really about it. I play this deck since the beginning of when I played Vanguard, because I began playing in the G era, and Chronojet was my favorite deck that I had at the time, but I also really enjoyed Fang. I also own a Fang premium deck. I also own it in the G... No, not in the G era, but yeah, also made that deck. But I was like, I will not make that premium deck profile just because Chronojet is so soon to be come out, and that's of course the better premium build. So I will show you guys off my deck. I will go from the highest grade to the lowest. So we will start off with one Metallica Phoenix. So people that know him knows him from being the early stride for the Time Leap engine, but now he is the grade 4 in the main deck. So he doesn't really have a skill. His only skill is he cannot be normal with it. So you can't ride him from 3 to 4 and just have a 15k base with his personal taste of having the triple drive icon. So when you attack with him, you already have triple drive. So you don't have to discard anything for him. And the reason why we play Great Force in this deck are because of the new Chronojet Dragon skill. Because Chronojet Dragon has a really important skill that lets you spear ride to a grade 4 in your main phase. So you can discard the sum of grade 3, so you actually stride and stride into Metallica Phoenix. And the reason why you want to do that, because it sounds like you stride and then get triple drive, so you just go for a filter, but actually you go for a +1 in power usage. Because when you ride Chronojet you get a force marker, because this Chronojet has the force gift, which is really nice. And when you ride to a grade 4, then at the end of the turn it retires because you stride out, but also Chronojet rewrites himself. So you get 2 force markers in one turn. So when you go into stride, you can have 2 to 3 force markers if you also ride in that turn. So that's a really nice interaction. It only helps if you go first. So you have a lot of situations where you don't use Metallica Phoenix. So that's just why I play it as a 1-of, and otherwise it's just a stride for this deck. So, but that's not the only crit reason I play in this deck, because I also play the 2 old Chronojet Dragon G's in this deck. And the reason why I play those is for the namesake, but also this deck is really Time Leap oriented. So Time Leap units gains power in this deck. He has the Time Leap stride skill, so he also has the Time Leap ability. Also, it's not the worst ride target. You don't get the gift, of course, but it's just if you ride something like a other grade 3 that doesn't have the Chronojet card name, then some strides don't really work out. And also the biggest reason why we play him is Chronojet, when he attacks for himself, you can counter +1 to give him 5k, so, and Sentinel over 6, which is really important. This Chronojet gains 5k for every 2 face-up cards in your G-zone. So if you go into your back turn with your strides and you have GB8 or something like that, then he gains 40k, or no, 20k, so big difference. So he gains 20k. Then again, because he has the time limit, he is on himself with a 9k bonus from that. He's on himself the 40k line. So he's bigger than your strides actually. And this will be an 80k. So even though this gets the sentinel restrict, this is the bigger boy in that respect. And then, because we play for the time leap engine, we do a lot of multitasking. I play one piano. And piano has a really important skill that says when placed you can bind a card from your hand and you get a Battledore effect for the entire turn. For people that don't know what the Battledore effect is, a Battledore effect refers to the first card that that makes this type of effect in the Nova Capture deck back in the day, and it says you have to guard with 2 more cards when you guard from hand. So when you swing for like a miserable turning K column, and your opponent is also turning K, so they have to throw away a 5k shield, you actually have to guard with 2 cards, and they waste a lot of shield value. But also if you have one to PG, you put down the PG, put on another card, and then discard for the PG. So every time you guard, you effectively guard with 1 more card than you intend to do. And if you do like 7-8 multi-attacks in 1 turn, then that makes a lot of wasted cards for your opponent, or maybe even get them to death. So that's it for the grade 3 lineup, and that concludes. Then for the grade 2 lineup we play for Aircop. It's a really nice card. It's just a Blessed Dark clone in the sense that you can get a drive check, but this card synergizes more with the whole drive check ability than Blessed Dark does. Because Blessed Dark is only a Vanguard circle ability, so you have to ride it. Aircop can just be placed on regular circles to activate this ability. But instead of Blessed Dark doesn't want any rearguards on your opponent's side of the field, this just counterblasts. So a little bit worse, but this deck, when some cards are discarded, you make actual pluses of it. So that's really nice. It can also be regarded as a grade 3. So when you want to discard it, you can just discard this, go into your stride, and you're done. So we don't actually play any stride counters in this deck because of that. We play like 8 grade 3s if you count Metallica Phoenix. With this you play 12, so it's 5 for me. Then for the time leap engine I play 4 History Maker. History Maker is your bread and butter. He's your multi-attack maker, hence the name History Maker. And he also has the time ability, so get his power from G units. So what his skill is counterblast 1. When he attacks, you can time loop 1 of your rear guards. So for persons that don't know it, you don't have to be boosted. This card doesn't really need to. So when you get stand trigger, you can attack with it once again, time loop something else, and make actually, because you got 1 stand trigger, you can actually make 2 attacks. So that's really nice. Then for the last grade 2, I play 3 Naboo. Naboo is really nice. I played her in the old deck before Astral Force, and I didn't really like her just because she's slow. And in the sense that she's slow, when you ride up to grade 1, then your opponent attacks, you get a counterblast, and then you go into your grade 2, and you don't have any cards in your drop zone to bind for Naboo, because Naboo's skill is when she attacks, you bind the card from your drop zone. Your opponent can't guard with grade 1s or higher for the battle, and she at the end of the battle goes into Soul and draw a card. So Soul Maker gets some advantage, gets some early aggro in it because of Aircop, and did you discard early game because you got 1 counterblast, you can discard a card, get Naboo out, and already do the bind shenanigans. So it doesn't really mind that you bind, but it's just nice to have and put out some early aggro with a Twin Drive. Then for the grade 1s, I will show you guys of my decks I play for this deck. So I play 1 Haggled, I play 1 Lishma, I play 1 Takeaway, and I play 1 Labashim. So Haggled is here for your counter charge, and the reason why I play this is because it's a faster takeaway. Takeaway skill is when something is being time leap, so you do this all the time, you can put a card from your drop zone back into your deck, so also triggers. But if you want to have some combo pieces in your deck, then takeaway is really handy to shove them back into the deck from the drop zone if they're not in your deck anymore. Haggled in that sense is when you have a grade for Vanguard, you can Soul Blast 1, put something from the drop to the bottom of the deck, same with him and counter charge. So it's a counter charger. You lose to your unit, but it's a faster takeaway, because if you do your first round of attacks, and then you don't have a takeaway on field, you have to work around it to get your takeaway on field to still make your multi-attacks. But in the focus, you lose some multi-attacking with it, because you have to time the takeaway. Haggled, in that sense, is a faster takeaway because you don't have to work around it, if it's in your hand, of course. And more importantly, if you want to swing with your melon, which is this card. If you want to swing with your melon and you have, for example, if you don't have a TikTok in your or imported card in your drop, in your deck, of course, and you want to put it out with melon, then you miss the timing because it's not in your deck. You didn't do a time leap yet, so takeaway doesn't help. If Haggled is on your hand, you can use that to put the unit back into the deck you want to filter out with melon attacks, and then do the whole shenanigans. Melon, for people that don't know it, is your 11k attacker. So what she does is, on attack you can give her 4k. At the end of the battle she goes back into the deck and you call out a grade 0. So you have a lot of important grade 0s in this deck that you want to have, and Haggled is there to replenish those. Same with takeaway, only takeaway is more important when you time leap 5 or 6 times in a turn, because you can pull back some more important units. I didn't explain Labashim and Lishma, and Labashim is here for the vegetable PG, because when she's placed on the rear card circle for time leap, you can discard a card to bounce her to hand. So if your hand is terrible, or you just want to discard because you make plus of that, then you can just time leap into this to get your PG. Lishma is here for the early aggro, all around the same reason, but when she boosted the Vanguard, you can discard the card Soul +1 time leap her. So you can time leap her into the Naboo. So with Naboo you already have a card in your drop zone because of the Soul Blast she did. She goes back into the Soul to draw. So you get a net 0, but you have to remember you put this out on the field, and because of time leap you don't get it back. So you go -1. But that all fixes with new grade 1, that is Chronojet Tigar. Chronojet Tigar is the grade 0 or the grade 1 that solves the entire deck in the grade 1 department. Because what he can do is, when he's on Vanguard circle, you draw an extra card at the beginning of your right phase. So really nice, just 3 cards, help you sometimes ride to grade 2. And for his second skill, when he's discarded, counter with this one, draw a card and calm his rest. Best ability we can have. I show you guys you can discard with units such as Aircop. You can discard with Lishma, you can discard with Labashim, and I made a deck around it. If you would run Chronojet only with Aircop, in my opinion, you don't make the best use of this card, because it does have a lot of usage, but you have to know which one you need to pick. So that's it for the grade 1s. Okay, so I play 3 Urvatar. Urvatar is your bread and butter. It's a stand trigger that goes back into the deck when she's bound, or he's bound, I don't know. When he's bound, you draw 2 cards, return 1 card from your hand to the deck, so you make a +1 out of it. It's your entire plus engine, and a stand trigger is really important in this deck, because if you stand something like a history maker, you can get 2 attacks out for 1 stand. And actually make your pluses, because you can call out this unit with melon attacks, put this out, history maker time leaves it into a melon, and you do the loop, or mini loop. Then I play 4 heals, just vanilla heals. We don't need the more counter charge or sword charge from the G heal, and fine with me. 3 top PGs because we play 1 PG in the lineup, and then for other triggers I play 4 crit, 4 premium collection crit, and I play 2 vanilla crit. So if you guys have seen in this deck, there are missing 3 cards, and that's really weird because we did the grade 1, the grade 2, grade 3 and 4, and the grade 0 lineup. So what is left is, of course, one starter, and one starter. Okay, I will explain this to you guys. The 1V starter is just to try your cards, get the quick shield. Chronojet to fetch out your Chronojets, because when you attack with your with your Melims and everything, sometimes your opponent put out like 2 defensive triggers and you can't get past them. Chronojet is there to still reach those numbers. If you put out a Chronojet and it's on the force 1 circle, it's a 21 attack, same as Melim, but Melim can hit. 2 force market, it's a 31 attack, but if your opponent is 12 for 20 pace and they got 2 defensive, then most likely like 32, 33. Here's Chronojet makes it so with the time leap ability he still gains power. You make still plus off, because with Chronojet skill it goes back into your hand. And what it is with the time leap ability he gains more power. I will explain it in a minute. And he can still hit for 36 or 37 to 40 numbers on the rearguard circle with the force mark, of course. So the reason why we play Chronojet, if you want Urwatar, you can fetch Urwatar still with Melim, but you can also fetch out your Chronojet to hit for high numbers. TikTok is here for the Melim plays. For people that don't know it, Melim and TikTok has a really weird interaction. Because when Melim attacks, he gains 4k, so her skill activates. TikTok, at the end of the battle, something attacked, you can time leap it. So what you can do, and this goes into the soul. So this goes into the soul, Melim time leaps, and you get out of grade 2. So that's just normal, right? But Melim's skill already activated to give it 4k. So what happens is you come out a grade 2 and a grade 0, so you still can make some timely plays with it. So for 2 units on field, you get 2 units back into the battle phase. One is of course rested, but you can call out a Urwatar and a History Maker, which makes it so that History Maker attacks, time leaps the Urwatar to a Melim, and you have a second round of attack. So the reason why we play him, and that's really it for the main deck. It's comfortable to my opinions. I play a lot of decks. Cards such as Labashim works for me. I like the option to, you don't really have to play her. Same for Aircop. I agree if you want to play Aircop at like something as a trio of Haggled, also a card you don't really need, but it's my personal taste. And yeah, the Chronojet Dragon G's you can also replace. I won't do that for now because we didn't get the premium collection right, otherwise that will be my 2 next stages that I play in the main deck. So that's really it for the main deck, and I will show you guys off my G-Zone. So for the G-Zone I play 1, 2 and 3 history builds. History build gives your time units power, so that's why I said that the entire video, because for every face up of this in your Vanguard circle or G-Zone, your time units can 3k and it stacks. So what happens is that your units get on first stride 3 to 6k, and at second stride 9k. So make, break, defensive triggers or magic numbers. So that's it for the important. Then I play 2 Gear Goofy because it copies the Gear Dragon skills from your G-Zone. Only downside is it needs a Chronojet heart, and that's why we play the 3 Chronojets, of course, to help you with that condition. Then I play 2 Chronicle. Clock is there to give you a or not a Sentinel restrict, a grade 0 restrict on the Vanguard circle for counterblast, and he gets a crit on GB2. So most people play, of course, the drop PG, so this can deny players to use that. 2 next stages, still to recent your Vanguard. Going to join G is of course your big attacker, so you attack with 26 and then for 40, so it's a really pressure point. Then 1 dust, it helps you to deny your opponents from G grinding sometimes, and 2 head round we can play now because we have a Chronojet heart, of course, and Chronojet helps with that. His skill can spin a unit from the opponent and call, and they need to call the top of their deck. So it can. The reason why I play 2 and not 1 is if a rearguard got a lot of power by something like a Castile, then you can respin it and it shows up with 0 or no power at all, and maybe call even out their U triggers. 1 Bafana to call out your Great Zeros in your opponent's turn. 1 Uluwu because he's a very big G-guard, gains 5k for every G-guard face up. And 2 normal Uluwu to pull back your Great Zeros and your trigger units, or your Great Zeros and normal units. So that is really for the deck. If you guys had any questions, comment down below, and yeah, that was really about it. I really enjoy this deck. It has a lot of combo potential. Please test this deck out. Tell me if you guys had ever any problem with something, if you guys didn't like anything or something about the deck, and I would really enjoy it to hear it from you guys, because there can be some things that I can overlook. Of course, we are all human, and I really enjoy to see different kind of views on the deck. So thanks for watching and have a nice day.